Welcome to episode number 311 of the Marine Layer podcast. The Mariners put up a stinker at home in Game 3. They lose 13-4, and hopefully have better things arranged for tomorrow. Otherwise, the series will be tied.
Reminder to you guys, if you want to stay on top of all of our stuff, and we really hope you do, just make sure to go over to our website at marinelayerpod.com. All of our episodes are there. If you're listening, go download, go rate and review, leave a 5-star review. It helps the channel a ton on both Apple and Spotify. If you're on YouTube watching, go hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to get up toward that 10,000 mark. We're getting close. Leave a like, drop a comment. If you're on our website, you can go find our merch, Patreon. That's all over at marinelayerpod.com. And then you can check us out across social media at marinelayerpod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording on Wednesday evening, October 15th, the stinker of all stinkers. I think this day is cursed, October 15th, Lyle. The other October 15th baseball game we have gotten was an 18-inning playoff loss. So you have an 18-inning loss and then getting clobbered at home by the Blue Jays in Game 3. Both fucking awful.
On two glorious fall days, too. Remember that 18-inning game? It was 78 degrees or something at first pitch. That year that summer was delayed, and it was summer weather in October. Wasn't quite that here tonight, but it was really nice to start the game. Unfortunately, devastating result.
Yeah, because all the heat was in the Blue Jays' bats.
Yeah, that's facts. Somebody did tell me, because I forgot about it until the middle of the game, and someone's like, you know this is the 3-year anniversary of the 18-inning game? Yeah, well, as our pal Frank the Tank would put it, all right, that fucking sucked. God damn it. I mean, that's kind of all I've got for this game. You kind of have to flush it. You're going to have to move past it. What he wants to say, yeah, it sucked. Every part about it sucked. They weren't getting balls out of the infield after the first inning. George Kirby didn't have it tonight. Bullpen didn't have it tonight. Dan Wilson didn't have his best night as a manager. Like, nobody really had their A game tonight.
The swing between Julio Rodriguez's home run in the first inning and then the ensuing 5 innings is about as big as I ever could have imagined in this playoffs. I mean, seriously, I was on the moon when Julio hit that ball. Everything seemed to be lining up perfectly in my mind for what I had imagined this game. And boy, was I wrong. I'm going to put my hand up right now. I was so wrong about Shane Bieber. I thought he was like Scherzer level cooked. I seriously did. I watched that first inning. I was thoroughly unimpressed. I thought the fastball wasn't moving. I thought his slider didn't have bite to it. He didn't throw his changeup. I'm like, huh. Like Josh Naylor bails you out by swinging at a pitch a foot above the strike zone. Polanco just misses hitting one out as well. Like, it was this close to like a 4-run first inning potentially. And then, man, did he shut the door on the Mariners offense. One ball left the infield through 6, from innings 2 through 6. One.
Yeah, he got 17 whiffs on the night, which is pretty good. It's not astronomical, but that's pretty good. After that first inning, that vintage Shane Bieber slider, oh, you saw it. That was very, very much on display the rest of his start. I don't know. I wasn't ever quite on your train about Shane Bieber. I agree that in his 7 starts, he was fine. Again, he had the 3.5 ERA. FIP was almost 100 points below where his ERA was. He's gotten hit hard. There were reasons to believe he might not be great in this playoff outing, especially given how the first one went. But I wasn't quite on your train about, oh, he's absolutely cooked. He's not that old. Yes, he had the Tommy John, but he's had enough starts to work back into it. And he proved that he is very much not cooked in this outing tonight.
Oh, he did. I just thought this was going to be, like, he just still doesn't have it because of the injury and the fact that he's barely been back for 2 months from the surgery, pitching in the big leagues. Less than 2 months. Guys sometimes take an entire year to get back to full strength. But for Shane Bieber, it took 2 months because he was hammering the strike zone with his fastball after that first inning where he was leaving it over the plate. He was dotting up the corners. The Mariners couldn't touch his slider. The changeup was really good. And the worst combination possible for me, seriously, for me and the Mariners hitters. At 5:26 p.m., Lyle, in that first inning after Polanco hit that double, I tweet, Shane Bieber has zero juice. Once the sixth inning rolled around and Shane Bieber polished off another masterful inning against the Mariners lineup, I officially asserted myself an in-game tweeting ban for the rest of this series.
Yeah, you got to stop with this. I mean, you're not good at this stuff. ALDS? Oh, I'd way rather play the Tigers than the Guardians. That's gonna be
well, they beat the Tigers, buddy. Let's not spin this back on me.
Surely they cakewalked to that series win. That was a real soothing Game 5 we watched.
All people remember is the result.
I think they would have beaten the Guardians in a lot less time with a lot less stress. Oh, I'd way rather play the Tigers than the Guardians. Oh, the Blue Jays? Shane Bieber's cooked. They're going to kill him. Yeah, this ain't going well.
Should I pull what your Tarek Skubal bit on Scherzer tomorrow and say Scherzer's going to throw 8 shutout?
The reverse jinx does work. The reverse jinx does work sometimes. Worked with Skubal.
I think Max Scherzer's going to throw 8 innings and strike out 15 tomorrow, and his fastball is going to flash back to the late 2010s, and it's going to throw about 98, 99 miles an hour.
Well, that wouldn't be good. That would not be good.
No, no, it would not.
So here's the spot the Mariners are now in. They lose 2-1. In all seriousness, you got to understand, this Blue Jays team's really good. They're the number 1 seed in the American League. They're top 5 offense in baseball. They've got a superstar like Vladdy. They've got a guy like Springer who's had one of the best years in baseball. He's been arguably the best DH in baseball this year. This is a good team with a lot of really scrappy hitters that may not be superstars but are good. Barger, Kirk, Lucas, Ernie Clement. It's a good offense. So to sweep a team like that was going to be really tough. This is an ALCS. There's 4 teams left in the entire MLB and all of baseball. Blue Jays are really good. All that said, Mariners can salvage all this if they just win tomorrow. You got to light up Max Scherzer tomorrow. Because with everything we just talked about with Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer is 40 years old. He's been injured a lot of the year. In all seriousness, he is not even close to the same Max Scherzer that he once was, even as of just a couple of years ago. You got to hit him tomorrow. If you can't light up Max Scherzer tomorrow, if you can't jump on Scherzer after a tough offensive night here tonight, after the Blue Jays put up 13, after you're in your home ballpark, well, then you don't deserve to win Game 4 if you can't light up Max Scherzer tomorrow. Don't
deserve to win Game 4. How do you deserve to win the rest of the series? You're going to give yourself an opportunity to because you won those first 2 games, but then it gets a whole lot harder if you don't beat Scherzer tomorrow because then instead of beating Scherzer, then you have to beat Gausman. And then you have to beat Savage again. And then you'd need to beat Shane Bieber again. And company, right? You don't want that. You want the pitching matchups to stay in your favor, and they will stay in your favor if you beat Max Scherzer tomorrow and you head to Game 5 up 3-1 with your hopefully Brian Will on the mound on Friday for however long he's going to throw. Apparently he was heading out to the bullpen today in the middle of the game.
I don't know what was going on there, but I'll tell you what. If we had seen him enter that game with the team down 4 to 5 runs, you want to talk about an explosion? I would have lost my mind had he entered that game, and not in a good way.
Anyways, back to my point. I hope Brian Wu starts on Friday leading 3-1, because your last massive pitching advantage, massive, like a chasm pitching advantage, like what I had for some reason imagined in my head tonight that fell flat on its face. You actually have a pretty big pitching advantage tomorrow. Max Scherzer's 41 years old. 41. The Mariners' offense, by the way, an offense that has not scored 5 runs at home in 24 years.
Yeah. And by the way, just to give you the quick synopsis on Scherzer's numbers for the year, this is not a knock on Max Scherzer. He should be a unanimous Hall of Famer. That goes without being said. But his 2025 stats at age 41, He's made 17 starts. His ERA is 5.19. His FIP is nearly 5. His WHIP is 1.3. He's only thrown 85 innings, and his ERA plus is 18% below league average. This is not Hall of Fame Max Scherzer you're facing. This is a guy that may be making the last start of his career tomorrow. You got to go hit him.
I'm going to stamp that every game from here on out, the rest of the season is must win. And why I say that is because I don't really feel like the Mariners treated tonight as a must win game.
Didn't feel like it. The way they got the quick hook on Logan Gilbert in game 2 when they realized he didn't have his best day and they went right to their bullpen arms compared to game 3 where, I mean, you're just letting Kirby wear it. Especially when it got to the point in the fifth inning. Well, the fifth inning when Vladdy took him deep, I thought, like, that was like, what is going on? It was one thing in the fourth. I thought he might be harsh. I thought there was a very, very valid argument for him to just be done after 3 innings, even in the middle of the third, if you were going to treat that game like a must-win, where if you got guys on base after it was 3-2, you make a call. I was scratching my head a little bit when they left him in for Springer to hit the home run in the fourth, and then when he gave up the home run to Vladdy in the fifth, I'm like, what is happening here?
Not treating the game with much urgency, which, if that's how you've decided you want to manage the game going into it, I guess. It is a 7-game series. To remind people, 7 games, you're going to need to use your pitchers a lot more, especially if you go all 7. You want your guys at peak availability for when you'll need them. And for a game like today, I mean, if you're going to lose, you might as well have your pitcher cover another couple innings, and that's exactly how it turned out. If this is game 6, George Kirby's out of the game in the second inning.
Although they were winning in this game, and they still had a chance to win. Aren't you trying to win a World Series? I'm not going to kill anybody on the coaching staff for this, because you're right. It's different than a 5-game series. You have to save arms a little bit more. But there wasn't anybody warming in the bullpen during that until about the late 4th to 5th inning. So there wasn't really anybody warming, and it didn't seem like Kirby had it. I don't know. Like, look, ultimately what this game comes down to is it's not Dan Wilson. It's the Mariners didn't score meaningful runs after the first inning, and George Kirby just didn't have it. That's what this game comes down to. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking at decision-making, I just feel like you got to manage these things with a little more urgency than that.
Later or today?
What's that?
In a future opportunity or today?
Well, both. Again, I just thought you saw by the 4th inning or so that Kirby didn't have it, and you could have pulled him.
Do you think urgency would have solved anything today? Because honestly, I don't.
Well, and again, this is why I'm not sitting here doing what we were doing after game 1 of the ALDS about a bullpen decision or a non-bullpen decision and a George Kirby start for that matter. Because you're right. It would not have likely made all the difference in the world. Now, you don't know how a butterfly effect might work if you're using leverage arms to keep the game close. Maybe the offense is a little more focused. Who knows? But you're right. Again, until late in the game, the offense had 2 runs. They didn't score from the 2nd inning through the 7th inning. The Blue Jays piled it on. That's what this is about. Offense didn't do enough. Blue Jays offense absolutely brought it tonight. That's what it's more about. But it is just a philosophy in a postseason that I'd like to see more of, like they did in Game 2 and like they did in Game 5 of the ALDS, where, look, you got to play every game to win. Quick hook. Guy doesn't have it. You just can't let him ride forever. It was just very odd to see Vladdy hit that home run off him in the 5th inning when it felt like, yeah, it just wasn't his day. And look, George Kirby's other 2 postseason starts, he's been awesome. He's been a huge reason they're here. But today just wasn't his day, like it wasn't Logan's day in Game 2.
Not only was it not his day, that was the worst, arguably the worst statistical starter Mariners had this year. There's not been a single Mariner. I saw this tweet online. I think it was from Matt Lovelace, just to give credit, because I did not come up with this. That was the first time all year a Mariners starter had given up 8 hits and 8 runs in a start. All season.
Yeah.
And it comes in the American League Championship Series. Maybe the Mariners thought he was going to turn it around at some point. Like, the 4th inning was better. Like, Kirby was a little sharper in the 4th inning. But then again, he gives up the homer in the 5th. And it's like, all right. Like, it's time here. Like, it's clear that his sinker was either missing way outside or inside to lefties, or he was either throwing it right down the middle, and then his sliders were nowhere near the zone. and that was it. And if George is not pinpoint command against a team that makes a shit ton of contact and he doesn't generate a ton of swing and miss if he's not locating perfectly and his stuff isn't elevated, that's going to be the end of that. And the Blue Jays then, instead of becoming a decent matchup for him, become a nightmare matchup for him. Total nightmare.
Yeah, and they talked about it on the broadcast. Ken Rosenthal talked about it pregame that the Blue Jays changed their approach a little bit today. More aggressive, knew Kirby would be in the zone. It worked for him. So the Mariners are going to have to adjust back a little bit in Game 4. And it may be different with Luis on the mound, who's a different pitcher. He's not the strike thrower that George Kirby is. He'll pitch outside the zone a little bit more. But Blue Jays had something click tonight, and you just can't let that momentum keep swinging.
They were talking about how the Blue Jays had really struggled against sinkers in the last half of the season, that the Mariners had a ton of success with sinkers in the first 2 games of the series. Not as much success here in Game 3. What pitch does Castillo throw a lot?
There was a lot of two-seamers.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting how Luis is going to go approach them. Talk about making changes, Lyle. Some conversation online about lineup changes. Would you think about doing anything for this lineup? Because there has been successful games in the playoffs for this Mariners lineup, but there has been a handful of guys who have not hit very well, whether or not the lineup is hit or not.
Specifically,
Randy hit a home run today in garbage time. Otherwise, he's been pretty cold. Hasn't looked great at the plate. Gino's been atrocious. Dom Canzone's also been really bad at the plate. Those 3 guys. Am I missing someone?
Yeah, and Robles.
Oh, and Vic. Yeah, and Vic did not look good. Also, I feel like he tweaked his shoulder running into that wall, jumping into the crowd.
I don't think it was his shoulder. I think it was his side.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. That would make a little bit more sense. But he was wincing coming out of the crowd. Regardless, it doesn't help his bat at all. Would you consider changing anything?
Tim Booth of the Seattle Times put this out there, and if you were going to change anything, I feel like it would have to be this. So let's float it out there. Would you consider sitting Canzone down? Because he has really had a tough go of it in this postseason. And by sitting Canzone down, you can move Polo to DH, Polanco, and you put Leo Rivas at second. Other than that, I don't really know what changes you can make. Gino, you don't have another third baseman, so you're just going to have to wear that one with him. Same thing with Randy in left field. You don't really have another guy that's going to play out there. Rayleigh's not on the postseason roster, and he's had plenty of his own struggles, so I don't think you're taking out Vic for Miles Mastroboni. That leaves really one option.
Unless you're a sicko.
What's that?
Unless you're a sicko.
Yeah, so that kind of leaves one option. It's do you sit Canzone down? Do you move Polanco to DH? Do you put Leo Rivas at second? The other 3, I just don't really think you can change out, especially Victor Robles, because as tough as he's looked at the plate at times, he still needs defense out there.
Well, I did see a potential change in lineup order, but let's just talk about the swap of players first. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to put Rivas in there, you're also going to have a lefty facing Max Scherzer, because I think that's what you need to focus on right now. Now, Leo is going to give you more versatility throughout the game when either lefty or righty relievers come in, because he's a switch hitter. He's also going to provide a little bit more on defense from wire to wire. However, he won't be available if you need him to run in the game. He won't be available if you want him to play a different position. Well, I guess you could always move guys around, but you'd probably rather just keep him at second base as opposed. I'm thinking of like if he goes to third base for some reason.
But he'll already be in the game, so if you needed him to run, you could use him to run. And if you need a pinch runner, you can just put in Mastroboni. So
the other thing to point out with this is that Max Scherzer does have like a little bit of platoon splits this year. It's about 100 points of OPS difference, 850 versus 750. Righties have the lower one, lefties have the higher one.
And Leo actually hits lefties better than he hits righties. It's not drastic, but he's got about a 700 OPS against righties and a 750 OPS against lefties. Oh, that's a small sample, but those are the numbers.
So you do get better in the field when you put Leo in there. He's a better defender than Polanco, and some would argue he, for one game, could be a better bat than Dom Canzone. Now, Canzone has more pop and more upside in his bat and has been the better hitter throughout the entire year. But, man, he has looked pretty lost at the plate. Not a lot of hard contact, not a lot of good swings.
So the deal with Canzone is when he makes contact, it's going to be loud. It can go a long way. He can do damage. And that's what he's done a lot of the second half, really since he got recalled during that Diamondback series. Where Dom Canzone runs into a lot of issues is he does not have the world's greatest approach. He chases at a lot of pitches. There's swing and miss in his game. And he will get into these spurts from time to time like we're seeing right now where when he's not making that loud contact, you're seeing a lot of swings on pitches that are way off the plate, including spin and off speed that bounces way out in front. You've seen that a lot in the Blue Jays series so far. You've seen it in the postseason a decent amount so far. So would they make a change this late in the year? Dan Wilson doesn't seem to have many knee-jerk reactions, so if I had to bet on something, I'd say no, because Dan hasn't really done that all year. But again, he's had to manage a little bit differently with his pitchers in the postseason because you just don't have time to wait around. I wonder if Leo Rivas gives you a little bit of a spark off the bench and you can move Polanco to DH. I think it has to be a thought, a consideration.
Would you put J.P. Crawford at leadoff?
So the idea is moving Randy down here because he just hasn't had it. I mean, you could. What if you put Josh Naylor at leadoff?
I mean, I'd be fine with that, too. My worry with moving JP or Naylor up is then you'd probably have Randy and Gino hitting next to each other, which is not good. You don't want two righties who don't have it at the plate, who strike out a lot at times, sandwiched right next to each other. That's how the 2023 Mariners missed the playoffs, right there.
Any chance that Randy's home run tonight, I know it was in garbage time, and I know it was an absolute mistake pitch of a cookie that he crushed, but any chance that could just get him going, just picks his confidence up a little bit?
Totally, it's a chance. Totally, 100%. But I think pitchers are going to be a little bit more dialed in when the score is closer.
Probably. When was the last time Randy hit a home run? It has been a long time.
It has been a long time.
That was his first home run since September the 9th.
Wow.
And so since September 1st, he had one homer going into tonight.
Mariners did this whole hot stretch to finish the season really without him.
Right. And they won
at least from a home run perspective.
And they won a postseason series essentially without his bat.
You can look at this with two ways. Way number one, JP will give you a little bit more on base. He seems a little bit more comfortable at the plate right now. But on the other side, the Mariners win by hitting home runs. That's what they are as an offense. Randy gives you a much better chance at hitting home runs than JP Crawford does. And how have the Mariners won in the playoffs? They've hit home runs.
It's how they won all year.
Yeah.
They walk, they hit homers.
Mm-hmm. You got to balance that here. I don't think I'd change the lineup.
And I doubt
they did just score 10 runs.
Yeah. And I doubt Dan
Monday.
changes the lineup. Dan doesn't make many lineup changes. He hasn't really made lineup changes since the post-deadline lineup where they started rolling this thing out, where they had Randy hitting leadoff. Mm-hmm. The only thing I think you might see change, and I think there's probably a greater chance of a player swap than a lineup swap, in the sense of rather than same players rejumbling the order, that you'd see Leo Rivas get a start.
Yeah.
I think there's a better chance of that.
I'm with you on that. I can't think of anything else you would change necessarily, besides guys just needing to go out and play better. This changes if guys have good games, which would be very refreshing.
Yeah. It would be awesome if all the struggling guys just let them do a win in this series. Where, look, if they're as good as Julio and Cal and Naylor have been, what if you had a Gino, Randy, Robles game where they ignite the offense and they're the driving force and they're the reason behind a 7-2 win? That'd be awesome.
It'd be great. It would be very, very helpful for all of us, and I think would make people feel a lot better about the lineup up and down as opposed to Julio's been hot, Cal's been hot, Naylor's been really good. Everyone else has been, it's okay.
Polo.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, sorry. How could I miss the biggest one? Jorge Polanco, Barry Bonds, Reggie Jackson. We said it earlier, and I'm just going to hammer this home as we're nearing closing out of this podcast. The Mariners need to win tomorrow. Tomorrow's a must win. I have no intention of coming on here and talking with the series tied 2-2.
No.
Must win. Every single game from here on out, the rest of the postseason is a must win game.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yes. You need to go beat Max Scherzer. This is the pitching matchup that favors you more than any matchup you'll have in this series. Mm-hmm. And you're at home, and with the crowd, and you're coming off a bad offensive night, which would likely signal that you're due for some turnaround. Plus, with how resilient this team's been all year. The Mariners do this. Every time they get knocked down, all year they seem to find a way to punch back and to bounce back up. They need that tomorrow in every way, and Luis needs to bring it.
And if you lose, you're giving home field advantage right back to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, you are.
And why risk that?
Yeah.
You don't want to risk having to clinch your season in Toronto. I would prefer not to, because crowds affect games. The crowd did not get to affect the game much today because they had about one inning to cheer, and then the Blue Jays went no more.
Yeah, that's true. Let's hope they bring it tomorrow. Let's hope. All right, a reminder to you guys. We did it on the last episode. I'm going to say it again. You guys were so awesome with helping us keep pushing closer to this 10,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. I mean, we talked about it on our last episode, and since then, man, you guys are driving this thing up through the roof. I mean, in a day's time, our subscribers went way up. I mean, it was already trending in a nice direction, which is a testament to every one of you guys, but the last 24 hours, that was awesome. So we said, we're trying to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. Honestly, at this point, let's make it a goal to just get it to 10,000 by the end of the postseason, because it feels like we're trending that way. We're really close. We're about 500 away. And we said, if you need an incentive even more than just support the pod, like we said on the last episode, there's a video of me getting really, really, really pissed off during the Kerry Carpenter home run in Game 1 of the DS, which we talked about at length. There is a video. We said we're not going to post it. However, once we get to 10,000, if you guys see us in person, post 10,000 subscribers, and say the code word 2K, we'll show you the video. We're not going to DM it to people. We're not going to send it to people. You got to come find us in person. But once we get there, and you want to see the video, you got to say 2K, and we'll show you. So if you need an incentive,
we're not giving distribution to anyone else.
Sorry,
guys.
Like, you got to see it through us. So help us get there. We're getting really close, which is just, a huge shout out to you guys. But you find us in person after that, we'll show you. So help, just keep helping us out with that. It's a goal of ours that we think is attainable. So shout out to all you guys. All right, let's go win Game 4 tomorrow. You got anything else before we wrap up?
If Max Scherzer gives you the opportunity to deal the kill shot in the first inning like Shane Bieber did today, take it.
Yeah.
Please.
Just why don't you go score 5 in the first inning? How about that?
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make me feel really good.
Get him out of that game and get to this Blue Jays bullpen that even tonight had massive, that's not fair, had problems. They still gave up home runs late in the game. I know Yariel Rodriguez isn't one of their leverage guys, so I get it. But none of these Blue Jays arms are that good, and we've seen it. Flaherty's fine. Little's good. Fisher's good, but it's not the Tigers bullpen. Get Scherzer out of the game, make that bullpen cover 8 innings, and you're going to be sitting pretty.
And the Mariners have already had a pressure-packed game at home with Luis Castillo on the bump, and they did pretty well in that one. Let's hope the same thing happens tomorrow. Let's hope.
Definitely. All right, that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full-form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure you're downloading these episodes. Go rate and review on Apple and Spotify. Please leave it 5 stars. It really helps us out if you do. Again, on YouTube, go hit subscribe. It really just takes a second. Leave a like. Drop a comment on this video. All that good stuff. If you're on our website, marinelayerpod.com, you can find everything we're doing, the whole 9 yards. Our merch is on there. You guys have been buying merch off the charts, too, which has been so cool. Such an awesome thing to have around the ballpark, and especially during fall season. Go get your merch. Sign up for our Patreon. That's over at marinelayerpod.com. And then check us out across social media at marinelayerpod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.